Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to another installment of Happy Hour Live. This week, we are joined by the one and only Sana Anderson. I'm super excited to be joined by her. We've been trying to do this for a number of months, but she had some conflicts, and we're finally getting to catch up. I've been following Sana for a long time on Instagram, but we've never actually talked in person or through Instagram. So I'm really excited to get to learn more about her. There she is. Hi.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can
Awesome.
you hear us or
Yes.
me? Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you so much. It is seriously, it's such an honor. I'm kind of freaking out and fangirling right now.
Don't freak out. Don't freak out. You are right there with me in making a huge difference in this industry, and even with your bum arm. How's it doing, by the way?
So pathetic. I'm over it. I'm going nuts. Just,
I bet. How long ago was the surgery?
it's April 9th, so I still got a little bit to go.
Oh my God. You poor thing. Is it killing you to not be? I mean, I'm assuming you're not wrenching right now.
No, I've been doing a lot of diagnostic help in the shop. Like today I diagnosed a truck that had like intermittent dying. So like scanner stuff I'll do and I'll help some of the other guys, but I can't I want to so bad. But I know if I screw it up now,
Yeah.
it's gonna get worse later, and I've been dealing with it for a while. So I want to do a good job and just be done with it. So
Yes. Behave yourself. Listen to the doctor.
yeah, it's really, really, really hard.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. I know. Like as a tech, not being able to jump in and get hands on is like one of the worst feelings.
And watching everyone else, and I'm like, no, I'll help you, I'll do it, and then I'm like, oh wait.
That's super cool though that your shop is being accommodating and allowing you to still be there and still work, even though it's not your usual ability.
No, they've been really awesome. It's just like light duty work and some paperwork and dispatch, so that's new for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm really grateful that I can stay working right now.
Yeah, definitely. You've been with that shop for a really long time, haven't you?
It's gonna be 2 years, so
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, before we get too ahead of ourselves, because we haven't introduced you to the audience yet, and I feel like I don't know a ton of your backstory, so I'd love if you tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing currently, and then we'll go into how the heck you got here.
Oh goodness. Um, I always just wanted to work in heavy duty for pretty much my whole life, and I think I just never had the backbone to pursue it. And I think as I grew older and had more confidence, and you care a lot less about what other people think, you start to just take control. So I knew it's what I wanted, and I didn't want to wait forever. So I just started creating opportunities for myself. And my parents think I'm nuts, and I am, but
But in a good way.
yeah. So it is what you make it. So I did a lot of research and wrenched with whoever I could, whenever I could. And my husband's been a tech since pretty much his whole life. So I definitely had a lot of opportunities there. And then I got into welding classes, and I really want to get certified for all of it. And then that's kind of how the foundation came along for Jesse Combs. And I just want to be the best technician I can be and the best welder. I'm a total nerd about the education about it, and just being really good. Like I could read about it all night.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's what it takes, right? I
Yeah.
get asked all the time, like, what's the best tool that a technician needs? Like, what's the most important thing that a technician needs to be successful? And I'm like, curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever stop learning and discovering new things. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you have like a career before all of this? Like, did you start out tinkering with cars and then move into heavy line? Did you like, was it just all of a sudden, I'm gonna totally take a fork in the road and do something completely different?
I originally went to school for automotive work. I did a year at SIU Carbondale, and I couldn't afford the tuition. If I was going to go, I had to fund it myself. Um, so I did a year there, and then I went to community college a year after, and then I kind of had to grow up and help my family out and go to work. So I made that decision. But all in the meanwhile, I always wrenched on stuff, whether it was in my garage or at my friends' shops, because a lot of the people I know are technicians. So I try to immerse myself in as much as I could because I didn't have it formally. And I was training horses full time, and I ended up switching. So now I do wrenching full time and welding, and then horses part time. And then I kind of had to make some big moves because, stuff was happening with my family and I had, big choices to make. So I landed a job doing HVAC. And I did that for a year as a tech. And that was awesome. Like, I think it's so cool. Like, that whole entire HVAC world is unreal. Like, it is so cool. And I
I
knew
have
nothing.
no understanding of that at all. Like that is so beyond my knowledge. You are like literally the Jane of all trades. You do all of the things. I think that's awesome.
I would definitely say a master of none, though. Like,
I doubt that. I doubt that seriously.
yeah, I ended up just flipping it over and getting a job. And actually, a lot of shops turned me down because I had a lot of like physical work experience, but nothing that was a legitimate shop experience. Like I didn't work at 6 shops and did this and that. It was just I like to wrench and was good at certain things, and I wanted to learn and work hard, and I got turned down a lot. Or some guys would be like, you're never going to be able to handle the humor in a shop with men. And it's like, please,
Please, I could say things that'll make you guys blush.
I, like, yeah. So the company I'm with ended up being like the first legitimate place, like publicly, that I was working at as a technician. I helped my husband a lot at his previous shop. It was like a bus depot, and it was all bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of wrenching there, and now that it's full time, it's given me the opportunity to like just go headfirst into anything I want to do, and especially with the foundation with
Yeah.
Welder. So I want to do it all.
You are doing it all, and it looks like you're excelling at it all.
Thank you. It's been
So
great.
you said your parents think you're crazy.
Totally.
Did you not grow up around?
No.
Okay. So how did that like first love start happening for you?
First of all, my whole family has zero mechanical aptitude.
I can relate to that. My family as well.
So everyone's like, oh, did your dad do it or your grandpa? And it's like, no, it happened. But I always used to, I guess, steal my brother's Hot Wheels. I just loved them, and I always loved cars and just classic cars. And I ended up having a boyfriend in high school, like my freshman year, whose family owned a performance shop. It was like strict
Oh,
resto mods, no repairs or anything. It was all custom. So I kind of got to get exposed to the world of like all the hot rod power tours, carcraft, just stuff like that. It was like a totally different world that most people don't get to, I
yeah.
guess, do. And I think once I got to be there and we hung out at the shop like all day, every day, I think that was it for me.
Nice. You just knew like this is something I want to do.
I didn't know how, but I was going to do it.
I love it. That's really awesome. So heavy line, heavy equipment, kind of trucks and buses and all of the major, like really heavy stuff you do. I think a lot of women tend to shy off from that kind of work because the parts are just so freaking large. And I think a lot of guys probably shy off from that too for the same reason. What attracted you to that, and how has that been for you?
Amazing. I've always been obsessed with heavy duty machinery. Like, it blows my mind that people can create something and diagnose it and alter it to literally like run the world. I wanted to work on earth movers originally, and like I said, I didn't have the backbone at the time when I had opportunities in my face to do something about it. So now that I have, you know, I'm older and I can make my choices and whatnot, that's when I had connections to get into the heavy. And I love it. Like, I love every aspect of it. It's not, yeah, there's heavy stuff and whatever, you know, like people think, especially for women, it's not that bad. If you enjoy the work and you enjoy just, I love trucks, like big trucks. I think they're incredible. I think all of it's incredible. So I don't know, kind of a nerd like that, I guess.
Not a nerd at all. And hey, they make the world go round. I think people don't really think about that often, but you're right. Like, it literally moves the world, and our lack of technicians for cars, trucks, planes, buses, like all of that, like that is how our world works and how we go about our daily lives. And it's so undervalued and underappreciated. It's really, really cool to see women stepping into all of the different areas of it. So it's kudos to you, man. I shied away from it because it intimidated me like that. And I know I feel silly saying that because, like, I remember shop owners, when I would try to apply for a job, say, well, how do you handle the heavy stuff? And I would immediately be like, I do the same thing anybody does. I use tools, I use lifts, I use tranny jacks, like I use tools. And yet I do the same thing with heavy equipment. I'm like, ooh, that's big. Like, I'm little.
I know, and people say the same, like breaking down tires and stuff. Like, it's sometimes it can be a pain in the ass, and you know, bigger tires are, I mean, they're big, they're heavy, but you just get used to it. And it's not like working on motors and stuff. It's like I pick up the motor and walk around with it, you know.
Right, of course. You don't do that? I don't understand. No? Do the guys do that?
Times, yeah. Yes.
Nice. I think what's really cool about seeing, like, just looking at your pictures and seeing like your little glimpse of life that you share with us on Instagram, like, because you're doing trucks, you do a little bit of everything. Like, you're doing electrical work, you're doing welding work, you're doing, you know, wood sometimes, you're doing mechanical, like you're doing all of the things. And I think that's a really cool opportunity.
Thank you. That's my favorite part. It's the variety for sure.
Yeah. Do you have an area that is your favorite?
Ooh, you've got some great questions. Definitely diagnostics. It's still something I have a lot to learn, but I think, you know, I think for diagnostic work and troubleshooting, you have to have a certain mind for it. And I think it's something I do well, and I think I'm very organized and a little bit of a perfectionist. So it's something that I really enjoy doing, and I love being able to solve it and like find different things. Other than that, I love the fabrication work, you know, a lot of welding, aluminum,
Nice.
bumpers, everything, you name it, cross members underneath, like, and it's not just heavy duty, it's really fabricating anything.
That's all. Do you do fabrication stuff outside of the shop?
Yeah.
For yourself, or?
Hold on.
Yes, show us some cool things.
Can you set the blinds? It's like blinding my face. Here's our garage. There's my husband, Ryan.
Hi, husband Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Here's our...
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
This is my child right here.
Your child.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So...
All sorts of projects going on. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. It never ends.
The way it should be.
I'm sitting on a creeper chair.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. They're comfy and they roll. It's perfect. Um, um, I think electrical and diagnostic stuff scares a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Um, what what are your what are your thoughts or words for those who are intimidated by it? Because obviously you love it, you enjoy it. What do you say to folks who are scared of it and how they could get over that fear maybe?
That's another really good question. And I think it's a really important one too. I think a lot of times with electrical, technicians in general don't have a good background of what they're looking for. And electrical is one of those things that you can get lost in it. Like you could start at one end and just keep poking around and not, you're kind of like going around in circles. I think you need to set yourself up for success with it. Like it's print the diagrams, you know, make sure you know the voltage for sensors and the pins. Like you need to have a plan of what you're trying to find, and you need to use process of elimination. Otherwise, there's so much wiring in trucks and trailers and bikes or whatever. You literally like you lose track of what's happening. So I think you really need to be aware of what you're working with. Like, what's the system? Like, you know, you need to understand if it's like, for example, like a fuel system or something. Like, you know what you're looking for. You're well versed on the components of it, like the injection pump, the sensors, IPR, like all of that kind of stuff. You need to have a good background of it. Otherwise, if a truck doesn't run and there, you know, there's an electrical issue, you can go everywhere. You can spend hours on it. So I think for sure, like really understand, knowing how to test and like what to look for is huge. But a lot of that stuff can be solved in looking up diagnostics. There's so much, you know, like data for like the next steps. So I think just getting in the habit of that, you know, that's helped me tremendously. So
What programs do you use for trucks? Is there a specific program for, because I know the programs I use for automotive for diagrams and repair instructions and all of the rest of that, like they don't handle big trucks. So where are you accessing that information?
The program that our shop has right now is the Truck Pro Demand from Mitchell.
Okay.
A lot of guys use scanners, or like the big laptops with some dealer specific stuff, but I just Google a lot of stuff, or I talk to people who, like someone who works on a lot of internationals. You know, there's a lot of like dealer specific issues that seem to be pretty common. But I tried to go straight to looking at a diagram and like knowing what's like the system of what I'm getting into. So that way I kind of have a direction of where to go.
Yeah.
And then I, you know, using a scanner, hooking up to it first, checking codes. And that also gives you a lot of information. So you know, you kind of get a direction.
Yeah. You mean the scanner doesn't tell you exactly what the problem is?
You know, like it's right here in this part, exactly right there.
I know. Doesn't everybody think that's the case? I'm like, no. So much more complexity.
I think we'd all be master techs then, right?
Right? Absolutely. My other favorite is when people call and they want you to diagnose by the phone. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to look at the patient before I can figure out what's going on. If I could do it by phone, I would be a very wealthy woman, but I'm not.
It's right there.
Right. So is it the same on the truck side where the different manufacturers have like their own programming, their own software to get into the system? Like is there OBD2 on trucks?
Yep.
Okay. See,
Yep.
I know nothing. I'm ignorant here.
Literally, I could talk to you about this stuff on cars all day because I really don't. My husband now is doing a lot more car work than me. I've kind of just dabbled in it a little and more like trucks and bikes and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But
From the biggest to the smallest. I see how it is. No in between.
I know it's crazy how that worked out. But some of them do have like your normal pin connectors that you would see for cars. but most of them are 9 pins and 6 pins.
Okay.
So,
like the diagnostic pins?
Ryan says it's, to use my proper term, the Deutsch connector, but I didn't want to get that intricate for you guys.
The Deutsch connector?
Yeah, just Google it.
That's the diagnostic?
Really round, and
Okay.
it has pins, recessed or not, plug it in. It's, for the most part, that's what we, some trucks have a couple of them, or they'll be on the left side by under the dash or towards the rear, but
not like the universal OBD2 connector that's in cars.
kind of, yeah.
Kind of, but
That
different. Same but different.
Yeah, that's technically like the universal, but you can see some normal OBD2 plugs. But
oh, interesting.
Dealer software, yeah, like Cummins, Cat, you name it, certain stuff, you're gonna need, dealer specific stuff to clear. I'm sure, like with BMW, right?
Oh yeah.
Stuff that has to be taken to a dealer to be cleared. Really?
Yeah, or you have to have the really expensive fancy software from BMW. Yeah.
Or that, yeah.
Right. Just spend lots and lots of money on
Right.
manufacturer specific stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had a question and then I totally lost it. Dang it. Oh, so at your shop, so it's an aftermarket shop? Like you do work on all trucks, or is it a specific manufacturer?
No, there's no dealer specific stuff. We're just a heavy duty repair shop, and it's primarily emergency roadside. So 24/7 on call stuff and towing. And we also have a shop and, incoming trailers, tractors, whatever come in. And obviously like bigger jobs we'll bring to the shop to have done or towed. But we never said no to anything. Like I've worked on snowmobile trailers, like skid loaders, a car, just like anything, like literally anything.
That's awesome. So you're doing roadside stuff too? You're doing road calls?
So most of the techs in the company do all 24/7 emergency roadside. And I originally wanted to be more of a shop tech, but I go on road calls, especially like diagnostic stuff, scanner stuff, regen stuff. And I do, or, before this, my arm, pretty much all the welding calls. I like doing that, but I don't want to do hardcore 24/7 on call. Like on call is really hard. Ryan did it for a while, and it's just not for me. I enjoy it here and there because it's still a novelty for me that way. And same with towing, but I want to be in the shop. I want my box right here with all my stuff, and you know what I mean? Like within arm's reach. So
yeah, I can 100% understand that. I mean, I have so many questions. So, first of all, like how do people respond when you show up on a road call?
Wow, I wasn't expecting to see a woman here. Holy shit. I get that. Yes, here I am. Believe it or not, I'm a female. I'm working on your truck. Like, you know what I mean? You just get used to it. Like today, because I haven't been wrenching and I've been in my sling, I've been in the office a lot helping with all the invoicing for dispatch. And we had a truck come in today with it was just dying randomly, always started. So they asked me if I'd go out there with the scanner and look at it and diagnose it. And I didn't know the driver was still there. And I walked up and he was like, "Are you working on my truck?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting you and like to come work on the truck." And I was like, no. Like, I'm a tech here. I'm just not in a uniform because my arm's injured. And he's like, what the hell am I getting myself into? Like, it just seemed weird. And by the end of it, he was like, wow, I've got a lot of respect for that. It's really cool that you're doing that. He's like, I really didn't expect that. And then there's always the people I've gotten a lot of people who don't want me to touch their trucks. I'm a female. Whatever. don't get it fixed. So
how do you handle that emotionally? Because I feel like that's something that I hear a lot from women in the industry, and it takes something to be able to get over that and not let that bother you. And some people have it instinctively. Some people it affects more than others. Like how do you handle that, and how, like, what's your advice for others to be able to handle that? Because that's a tough one. I feel like in trucking it's probably even more so, because it's kind of from a stereotypical place. Like most of your drivers and owners are probably a little bit more macho and
oh yeah, big guys. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would love to hear your answer on it too, but I think being a female in any of these industries, unfortunately, you need to have a backbone for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are going to say stuff, and it is a novelty. I think as long as you're good at what you do and you're passionate about it and you try, nothing else matters. But yeah, some of the comments, especially when I was younger and I wasn't as mature, and you know, you're so impressionable to what everyone says. I was very self-conscious of it, or I didn't want to work on stuff in front of anyone or whatever. But you just have to grow up and grow a backbone and know this is just a part of it. Hopefully one day this is a normalcy and things change. Yes, seriously. And I know we are all on the same path together to get it to this point. But such is, this is just a part of what the industry is. And I think being a woman in it, you have to be a special type of strong. And I think that also is the perfect leader we need for it anyway. You know what I mean? So what do you think?
I think it took me some time, honestly. Like, it used to piss me off, right? Like, I would get pissed when we're like, oh, and I don't want her working on my car.
Yeah.
I think kind of similar to you, over time, getting a little maturity, getting a little more experience, and like knowing in my heart of hearts that I know what I'm doing,
Yes.
right? Like, I think sometimes when people throw insults at you, the things that you know aren't true are easy to like dust off. But the things that you think might actually be true are really hurtful, right? Like, before I had confidence as a tech, people would be like, well, what are you doing working on this car? I'm like, I don't know. It would really bother me, right?
Definitely something that, like, for me at least, I would constantly think about it and become self-conscious of it. You know what I mean? Because you are already being, like, you're already under the magnifying glass as it is.
Right. So when it sounds like from what you were saying that when people are like, oh, you're the one working on my truck, that at some point they come around because they see that you know what you're doing. They can see it with their own two eyes, and you're like literally changing hearts and minds every day when you are working on people's trucks. When somebody says, I don't want her working on my truck, what do you do in that situation? Do you just say fine? Do you fight it? Like, how do you handle that? What's your approach with that?
Fine. Too bad. You're not gonna get your truck fixed or whatever. To me, it's like, it has nothing to do with me at that point. It's more a projection of them. And you have to think of it that way, and know your value in this, because there's so much scrutiny as a female. Like you said, it takes time. Like, yeah. Before, if someone said it to me, I'd probably go cry and hide in the back lot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
You want to be good at it so bad, and it hurts to hear stuff like that when it's something you're already so self-conscious about as it is. But now I just say, fuck off. Fine. It's what you got to do. But there's people too who I worked on their truck for a little while and we're making some headway, and they still give me a hard time. And it's like, at that point, I'm just a technician just trying to do my job, and that's it.
Right. I think that's what most of us female techs want, right? Like, I just want to be able to do my job. I want to do what I love and have it not matter that I'm a woman, or
literally we're all doing the same work. because I'm a female, I'm not better at it than you, and vice versa. Like, I just enjoy the work, and that's why I'm here. So, yeah.
In your time as a tech, have you noticed any shift in how you're responded to? Like, do you feel like things are changing in a positive direction?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I think you kind of, like we were saying before, you got to prove yourself. And, when I first started at my shop, they're like, well, we had one girl here who lasted like a couple weeks, so we'll see how long you last. And it's like, fine. And,
Challenge accepted.
I think my commitment is really had the most impression. And I think my desire to learn and creating opportunities for myself to become better at fabricating and wrenching and just anything regarding it, like seeing how serious I am. Like, I love it and it's fun, but at work, like, I'm sure my coworkers are are here watching, they could say, like, I'm serious at work. Like, I'm serious about the work I'm doing and trying to figure it out and like being productive with it and doing quality work. So I think that in its own has really kind of, like, people don't mess with me when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You just put it out there. Like, I'm serious. I'm here to work. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I love it. So if you could talk to younger you, because you said, like, as you got older, you learned to, like, not care. And I think you're right. Like, I think particularly women, our give a shit gene starts to fade and die. Like, we don't care what people think anymore, and we're down to just do what makes us happy. But if you could go back to younger you, or to somebody out there like you who's struggling and wants to do this work, male or female, but what are your words for them?
I would say, and I know it's so hard when you're younger, but I wish I could go back in time and just change when I decided to just do what I wanted and, do what it took to get here. I wasted so much time, and I dabbled in so much other stuff knowing it's not where I wanted to be. And I always look back, like, obviously I can't change the past, and I'm so grateful where this crazy thing has ended up, even with the Twisting Force page. So, but I always wonder, like, what if 10 years ago I did that and I pursued all that I'm doing now then? Like, where would I be? What would I know? So I always wonder about that. But I would say just have tunnel vision. Like, if you want this, just don't look back. Don't look at anyone who's not supporting you. Get what you want, because, at the end of the day, you are the only person who has to be happy with your choice. And it sucks when you're not. And I've done it. You know what I mean? So, and just have confidence in yourself. Like, stand up for what you believe in. And I know, it's so hard to tell that to.
Right.
Someone.
Yeah, it's easy to say. It's like a whole nother thing to do, especially for young people.
But also, like, especially as you know more than me, like, it takes these years and all these experiences of all of this to get to the point where we're at now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing I wish I could communicate to young technicians. Like, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and that's what makes you great later. And it sucks right now when you make mistakes, because you want to beat yourself up and you want to feel awful and it feels like poop, and I totally get that. But I got really good because I messed up all the things. Right?
It's those mistakes that make you the best tech, because you know exactly what not to do. I post from all my my mistakes with stuff, so definitely.
Yeah, reading in the book is one thing. You learn it, okay, cool, but you don't, like, know it. You mess it up, know it.
Really?
You figure it out. Have your parents come around to the fact that you're doing this, or are they still like, oof, we don't understand?
I think I think my mom is proud of me now. My parents don't really support it. My dad is like hardcore Muslim, and even to this day, he tells that I'm not a
Oh, you
doctor.
you broke up for a
Texted it to
second.
me like, oh, can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, you broke up for a second. Every day he tells you, I missed it.
I mean, he always tells me how disappointed he is in me that this is what I'm doing. And again, it's his projection. It's my life. He got to do what he wanted with his life and make it what he did, and I just, I'm going to do the same with mine. And I lived my life for so long trying to make my parents happy and fulfill what they wanted for me, but in the end I'm the only person who hurt from it. So I think my mom thinks I'm nuts that I'm doing this, and I'm recently I've been taking a lot of more risky decisions, and she's not a risk taker, but this is also the time of my life to do this and do what I want and make something of myself, especially towards a bigger cause. Like, I don't think she realized how determined I am. And my dad will always be disappointed in me. I told him I was in the New York Times, and I received that scholarship for the Jesse Combs Foundation, and he was still like, so you don't want to be a doctor? Like, it will never change. And I used to take it really, really hard when I was younger, and like I said, it almost crippled me because I couldn't make any decisions without their approval, and just in general with my life. So learning to let go of that and just do what I want for me, and for my husband and for my future. I still struggle with it a lot now, but nothing like before. Now it's I've learned to like pretty much let go and just do what you have to do for you. I mean, you probably know that better than anybody.
Yeah. I'm grateful that my parents were surprised by it and not necessarily uber supportive at the beginning, but they're wonderful people, and they came around relatively quickly. It took a couple of years of me still getting the prep guide to the LSATs to go to law school for a couple of years for my birthday. But eventually they came around. But that's got to be really, really rough. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because I know there's probably a number of women who are out there, and guys probably even too, who are experiencing something similar. And really with whatever career they choose to have a parent that's disappointed, and then that's a hard thing to live with every day. And so I appreciate you sharing that and how you've been able to move beyond that a little bit. But God, that's a rough place to be.
It's okay. There's, all I can take from it is I don't want to turn out like him in that way, and for other people to see that part of my life and know that like it's not going to define me and my choices, and I can still, it's not like I'm some crazy like drug addict person who's
right. You're like, it could be way worse, Dad.
be way worse. So, and it's crazy because it's created success for myself and for Ryan, and we've been able to purchase our first house in under 30. You know what I mean? Like, it just blows your mind that they can still be disappointed in you. Like, it wouldn't matter if I was in the Olympics, they would still have something to say about it. And I'm happy with my life at the end of the day, and I'm the only one who has to be happy with myself regarding that. You know what I mean? So
it's a phenomenal attitude. I applaud that. Do you feel like that has had something to do with your drive?
Yes and no. I think for a while when I was younger, it definitely crippled me. But at what point do you continue to live your life like that? I think once you grow up a little bit and you're more independent and you end up moving out by yourself, like you really start to embrace like making your own choices. And I never really had that opportunity. So now that I'm an adult, you know, my mom thinks I'm like this wild Mustang that can't be tamed. And
Good. Stay untamed.
yeah, but that's exactly it. Like, I think that's what makes all of this so special for me. It's like I'm wild and want to do all this crazy stuff, and my mom thinks I'm nuts, but like in reality, it's just like for you, we're just in a different industry that apparently has a stigma to it, and we're just barrier breakers for it, and you know, hopefully amazing role models for the next generation to just have it as a normalcy. At least that's what, you know.
I hope so. I look forward to that day when it is not a thing anymore. I don't know if we're going to get to see it in our lifetimes, but I am hopeful.
Hopefully we do, yeah. So
do you, and you may not, but do you remember, like, was there like a gradual progression for you going to, I don't care anymore what other people think, I'm going to do my own thing? Or do you remember, like, was there a specific moment? Was there an event or a situation where it was a turning point for you?
I think when there were successes in what I was doing is definitely like those moments of affirmation where you're like, yeah, I can do it. You know, I'm good at this. I can do it. But for me, the definite like pinnacle of it all was Twisting Force, this page. Like you know, I don't have like the lighting and all the stuff that a lot of these girls have, and I don't post anything that's nude or provocative. Like the page's original intention was literally, like I tell my husband, I just wanted to post stupid shit we work on and just share it. And it kind of just blew up, and I don't have, you know, 300,000 followers and whatever, but even the ones I have, like, I can't believe these people care about what we're doing. Like, I can't even tell you how amazing it feels. To me, it's like they reach out about everything, and I feel like every person who, you know, I communicate with on here, I know, like, there's such a great relationship. And I think people seeing my work and being like, wow, you're really good. Like, hey, you want to work here? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much affirmation in that. So Twisting Force really, I guess, encouraged me to just continue doing what I love. And there's so many people. There's not a lot of people in my real life world that did. But in this land, people I didn't even know are like, hey, you're really good. You want a job here? It's like, me? Like, really?
You talking to me?
Like, crazy to believe. And I think especially receiving the Jesse Combs scholarship, like that for me, like it literally took this thing off for me. Like I couldn't believe that they loved my application. You know what I mean?
How
Like,
could they not?
I knew that I would receive something like that. You know, I never thought I'd be good enough for it in that way, or I don't know. So I think hearing those people, you know, especially behind the foundation too, like they believe in me so much, and all the girls really, like, I can't even tell you. It's just unreal. So I think it's really given me more of a sense of self-worth and value for myself, to not doubt myself so much and compare or, you know, worry about other stuff. Yeah. It's just do the best I can, and that's it.
I really appreciate the authenticity of your page, and like to your point, like it isn't maybe not the best lighting, maybe not the best produced, maybe not the whatever, but there's a realness and there's an authenticity, and I think it's important for that to be out there. I think it's really important for other girls to see, like, just you're just doing your thing, like, and it's not for the show of it, it's not for the whatever, like you're doing it because you love it and you're leading with your passion, and I think that's very much to be applauded.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So yeah. And then I had another question, but I lost it because I wanted to say that. See, I go like my brain is like a squirrel. Oh yeah, it was just like about Instagram, right? Like this community that's been built, like, it's so interesting to me, the value and the power of that. Like, to your point of not knowing anybody maybe in your immediate life in person, and yet because there's all of these folks online and we get to see each other and we get to be validated and affirmed by one another, it's an incredible thing. So it always is cool to hear that was a big piece of your journey.
Yeah, I seriously, like, all of you guys even watching and being a part of this with us, like, thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much it means that, you know, people are interested in this and support it. Like, even all your comments that we're seeing, I can't even tell you how grateful that I am that, you know, you guys are taking the time to do this. And same for you too. You know, thank you for, you know, taking the time to reach out to me. I know it took forever because of class and stuff to make it happen, but like, seriously, this is a really big deal for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe I'm communicating with you and you're asking me questions. I want to ask you a million questions. You know what I mean?
Well, this will not be the last time we speak, my dear. So definitely you can ask me all the questions you want. I definitely want to stay connected. I think you're phenomenal. I think what you're doing is really great. And I think like the message to others out there too is like what you post, what we all post as women in the trades, like it affects other people. Like whether you mean to or not, you're a role model. Like people look up to you, Sana, and you are impacting that next generation. And I think it's awesome to see you taking that seriously and being a huge inspiration and a huge role model to so many others. So it takes a village.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been amazing. I would have never thought that this would happen, and this is like just the beginning. You know what I mean?
What's next for you? Do you have plans? Do you have goals? What's the next like thing on your checklist of I want to achieve?
Ooh, great question. I really just want to continue wrenching and being really great at that and welding. I've been offered some really incredible opportunities, but you'll just have to stick around and wait.
Ooh, now I'm intrigued.
So I'm already blushing about it. So other than that, just I want to do the best I can in representing the Jesse Combs Foundation and just women in trades, and I guess just anybody interested in trades in general. Like I think the shift should be from, you know, white collar work to this. I'm a huge advocate for that. So, and there's some builds that, you know, I'd hope that my husband and I can do, and we'll see. Well, you guys see. Stay tuned to Twisted.
I know. I like this tease. This is turning out to be perfect timing for us to have this live. It sounds like. I'm excited to know. But that's awesome that you're getting some fantastic opportunities, and I'm so grateful for you that you got the Jesse Combs Foundation award and the newspaper article, and that you're getting acknowledged for what you're doing. And yeah, it is the trades in general, right? Like it's not just women in the trades. It's yeah, it's leveling the playing field and saying that it isn't that white collar is better than blue collar, that blue collar is better than white collar. It's that they are both valid and important and crucial to the world, and they're both worthy of respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So real quick, for those who are just tuning in, this is Sana Anderson from Twisting Forces, her page. She's a heavy duty technician working on trucks and all of the things, welder, fabricator, mechanic. Definitely make sure that you go and support her on her page and keep up with her, because she's got some big stuff coming apparently that I am so stoked to find out about. I know, big tease. What as a kind of like couple of final thoughts, because we're getting close to the end of our hour. we obviously, as women, we face like supporters, we face people being suspicious of us, we face people not being cool with what we're doing at all. Um, I think the allies, because you said at one point earlier on, like you got to focus on the positive, focus on the people who do support you. What do you say to the people out there who do support women doing this? How can they be better allies to us?
I think just in general, just supporting people in trades. I think it's crazy because like right now, we like we said before, it's kind of a novelty for women to be breaking through in this industry, or just trades in general, really. So we really work hard to highlight them for exposure. So it becomes, like a normal thing. But um, there's so much I wanted to say about this just now. I'm sorry,
That's
guys.
okay.
So I hope that at some point, like, it doesn't have to be that way where we really share. But I think, and the beauty of that is there's so many talented people, male or female, who they're like getting a break to be exposed. So I love being able to share that. And hopefully one day it's just, hey, a really awesome wrench, check her out, check him out, all of that. But like right now, finding like people who've been underground almost, like even for me, like I couldn't believe the first time someone had shared something about me, like, oh, like, what do I have that's so special in that aspect, so in that way, I would just hope that everyone can just continue to support females in it and just make it a normalcy. I mean, we're on the way. It's becoming a lot more normal now than ever before. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
Um, I think you're right. It's speaking up, right? I think there's a lot of men who applaud us and are supportive, or who think it doesn't matter whether we're male or female as long as we can get the job done.
Yeah.
But I think being more vocal about it, like those are my words to our allies out there, because we know we have a ton of allies, but the
Yes.
negative voices tend to be louder.
Yeah.
And so we need our allies to be vocal, to stand up for us when they see crap happening that shouldn't be happening, and to help kind of spread the word and normalize it, and be that support for the new girl in your shop, right? Or even the new boy. Honestly, like, be an ally for somebody. Somebody did it for you. Be
Yeah.
that ally for somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. That's totally hit the nail on the head for that.
It takes all of us, 100%, and not just the women, but the men, for us to make this a normal thing where it isn't a big deal, right? Because people say that all the time. Why is it just women technicians? Aren't you being sexist? Like, no, it's because we need it right now. Like, we need that big up. We need that support. We need to be told that we're welcomed here and that we're valid and important.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you say that, because I see a lot of posts, like some of these big mechanic pages will share a video of a girl struggling on something or breaking a tire down in heels or something, and like you can go through the comments and it blows your mind of what some of these guys say. And and then someone will make a comment like, oh, I bet all the female mechanics on Instagram are going to comment on this and say it's not how it is or whatever. But it's like, or say we're feminists, and it's not.
Right.
We're not feminists. Like, I'm not, pro women in this and we're better than this or whatever. It's not what it is at all. Like, we're just, it doesn't matter what gender you are. Either way, the truck is diagnosed or it's not.
Right. Wanting to be respected for my skill set has nothing to do with being feminist or not.
The truck doesn't
There's
know.
nothing to do with my gender. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, when people say we're feminists for this, and it's
Or man haters. That's my favorite.
it's like, take a step back and imagine if the roles were reversed and men were minorities in this industry and you are trying to break through in it and you feel like all eyes are on you, like it's always different when you look at it from a different perspective. And it's just, you would wonder if we were the only people who wrenched and guys were new at it. You know what I mean? Just
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we talked about advice for our allies. That's great advice for our non-allies, is like put the shoe on the other foot. Like look at it from a different person's perspective for a moment. Absolutely. I love Guns and Hoses, man haters. We are not man haters, Guns and Hoses.
Not a man hater.
No, we love men, especially the supportive ones. All right. So we are running down on time. The clock is ticking. I would definitely love to continue talking with you in the future, offline, online, whatever. I'd love to meet you in person someday. I think you are phenomenal. I think you're a great role model and a great inspiration. And I hope you never give up on any of that and stay true to who you are.
Thank you so much. But I didn't even get to answer or have my interview with you yet.
We can do it. We should do one on your page. You can interview me on your page. We can turn the tables.
So many questions to ask.
Well, we've got 4 more minutes. You got one you wanna?
Oh my gosh.
All of them.
Okay. What was that pinnacle moment for you in this career that made you realize, like, no matter what, this is what you want to do, you're sticking to it? Like, what was it?
That I decided to stick with it.
Like, you knew this was it.
That's a good question. I did some automotive stuff in high school, and then I went away from it. I went to college because that's what I was told I was supposed to do. And I don't regret it. I mean, college was a great experience. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I learned a lot of things. But I think in that process, I also found myself teaching a lot of the kids that I went to school with together, like teaching them about their cars and getting a lot of joy out of that. And I think that by the end, I was really mentally burnt out from academia, and I missed working with my hands, and I missed building things and fixing things. And I had this idea that I could fix things and I could empower people through car knowledge. And honestly, I got a little lost along the way. I was young. I became a technician. I was working for BMW, and I think I just got on this, like, just being a tech, punching a clock. That's all I was doing. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I had lost sight of the wanting to work with people piece. I think the bigger, like, more pivotal moment for me was when I, like, realized when I was good, and that I had, like, that I could do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
'Cause I think that's one thing to be committed to. It's another thing to have that, like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can actually pull this off.